Peace, peace. What's good? What's good? Grand Rising, kings and queens. Grand Rising, Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Well, what a show, what a show, what a show we have today. A lot of information is going to be spilled out today. A lot of information. I know the media is going through a lot of things right now. There's like some turmoil times right now, especially in the hip hop community. And things are really, picking up, going gradually. And it's this hearsay, this, say this, and this person said this, and this person has the audio tape of this, and this person, so it's really getting ugly in this hip hop stuff. So I felt like I was going to go on and I was going to explain a couple of things about what really is hip hop. What I've been seeing is lately that certain people, think people, what I call them, they're gonna tell us what hip hop is. And the thing that kills me is some of our people like agree with it, or some of our people just take it as if, yeah, that's what it is. If the pink people say that that's what hip hop is, then that's what it is. They're like they have the definite definition of what hip hop is. So I kind of did my own survey, and I really started thinking, 80% of people, I'm talking about pioneers and legends and all of that, 80% in my survey don't even really have the real knowledge of what hip hop really is, what it really is. And I'm not saying just hip hop music. I'm not saying, the hip hop, but all the things that come into play to make hip hop. And a lot of people got it twisted. A lot of people just say no. Some people that weren't there, people that don't have experience with the things, can actually say, well, hip hop started with the Sugar Hill Gang. Some people say Rapper's Delight was the start of hip hop. Some people say it's Run DMC. Some people say that it was Herc. Some people say that it was Herc, Bam, and Flash. Some people say these things, and so I think I want to get down to the root of it. I want to, start by getting down in the root of what hip hop is. Now, I'm not going to go back farther than 1970. I'm not going to go back farther than 1970, but I can go back farther. I think there's one thing that I found that dates back to 1936. And that's something that I'm going to show you guys on here. But yes, for what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to 1970. And so in 1970, for those that weren't around in 1970, we were in how can I say, in a fight. We were in a fight. There was a lot of rights that were being discovered that were against us as a people. We were going through the Black Panthers thing, the Malcolm X things, the Martin Luther King things that were going on, and the anti war that was going on. So we were going through a whole bunch of things in 1970. So that's one of the things that made a combination of things that went in play in 1970. But what I'm going to show you is what hip hop is to us. See, there's a big difference in this whole entire world between states and cities. Okay, so on the West Coast of things, you had like the Panthers that were militant, and so at the time, at those times, they had militant wear. They were, there, that was the part of the the African dashiki type wear. It was the black leather militant wear, where like they were ready to go to a war type of thing, war in the streets. Hold your arms and put up your arms, and that was on the West Coast of things. Um, Remember, on the West Coast as well, they were coming out of the '60s, which were hip type of hippie type of things that were going on. So they were the sunshine and the love, free love is love type of thing. And a lot of that happened on the West Coast of things. So now, let's go back to New York. Um, and so in New York, remember in 1970, we had a lot of racial tension then, but we were more into how can I say, the movements as far as youth uh, being in what I can't say in power, but in youth and being rebelized. Okay, so in other words, a lot of youth parents got caught up in drugs or got caught up in going to jail, got caught up into this militant thing that was going on. So a lot of the youth at those times in the 70s, 1970, basically had to fend for their own. They really had to basically fend for their own. And or if they didn't fend for their own, they would be sent to aunt's house or uncle's house or a grandmother's house or a grandfather. So their structure, their home structure, was being shifted a lot in 1970. And so a lot of teenagers and kids rebelled against not only the system, but rebelled against what you would call the home structure. So that a lot of that happened in the '70s. Now, don't get me wrong, that's not all that was happening. That's not all. But those, I'm just giving you a little, try to give you a little bit of taste of some of the things that were happening. So remember, I was telling you about the West Coast and the East Coast type of things. The dressing was different. The dressing was definitely different between the West and the East. And some of the things that gave the East Coast style was we had more like, I guess, I don't want to say pimps, but we had a lot of players in 1970. We had a lot of players, and especially Harlem. Harlem was the hip thing. That's where a lot of the fashion comes from. A lot of the music, actually, they would have these joints in Harlem that people would come all over to get these joints, to go into these places and hear some, jazz or blues or all of these different genres of music was in Harlem. And so at the nightlife was very prevalent in the 70s and 60s and 70s in Harlem. And there was a certain way, there was a certain style of dress that was actually placed. Now, uh, this picture was actually taken in 1970. And if you notice the afros, if you notice the high heel shoes, the mini skirt, and that was the look of the women in 1970. That was the look of women at that time. And as you can see, those type of looks were something that maybe you would see your aunt wear, or your sister, your moms would wear those things and everything. And that's what we were, as kids, we were looking at. We were looking at that. And so look at this one. Okay, so now the player men, they were suits. They were suits, and they had these looks that had this, like, that they were macking it at the time. They were actually macking at the time in the 70s. Okay, and so that's one of the things that we as kids could identify with, as them being, like the the to do type of dress, the fashion stuff. Okay, so now let's look at this. Let's look and get a taste of what was happening in 1970. So, okay, at the top it reads, why Adam Powell chooses to fight rather than quit. Okay, so remember, these at these times, it was so much political stuff going on. There was so much rights being sacrificed at these times. There were so many things that were happening that that were political, and we as kids didn't understand. We did not understand. Even if you were a teenager, you really didn't understand what our elders were fighting for. We didn't understand what they saw that we didn't see, because we were basically safe. We were basically covered by them, but we didn't really realize that our rights were being challenged. Our rights were being taken away from. We didn't really realize that. So, what were some of the things that we did? What were some of the things that we did so that we could, not be a part of this political things? Some of the things that we did were go to the movies. Okay. And when we went to the movies, we were really waiting to see us up on stage. We were ready to see people that look like our parents, people that look like our aunts and uncles, our cousins up on the stage. So this movie came out February 7th, 1973. Okay. So, that was something that we all went to go see. Now, look at this one. Okay. So now, one of the things that even as now, I still feel bad about showing it, because if anybody that knows about breaks, and people that know about what we used as breaks and stuff. This was Sweet Sweetback's badass song. Okay, and that was by Melvin Van Peebles, and this came out in April 23rd, 1971. And this actually had a break on the record, on the soundtrack. It had a break that is still used today. It had a break. So imagine in 1971 going to the movies and watching this movie and hearing that break. Now, remember when this came out, the albums were all over. You could go right up the street to the record store and buy this album. You could go straight to the record store in April and 23rd on 1971. You could go and you could buy this album. Okay, so now remember all the people that said, "Oh, this break was you wasn't playing the breaks. You wasn't playing the breaks in 1971," and all of that. All of those people that say things like that. Here, this is a perfect example of what happened. So now imagine me, a drummer, and I go to the Ward Theater and I go see this movie and I hear in the movie there's these funky breaks, these funky drums playing. You could bet your bottom dollar either that day or the next day, I'm going to the record store to find this album and to find this record. So now getting that record, the first thing I'm going to do is play it in the house. And the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it to Mario because Mario's playing outside because Mario has these bigger speakers that they can let everybody hear it. So I'm putting this record on the turntable without a doubt. Without a doubt. Okay, so those were some of the movies that we were influenced by. We weren't influenced by other people. Yes, we were. We were influenced by our elders and stuff, but our main thing was to see these hipsters on actually the big screen. Okay, so now in 73, we already said the Black Caesar came out in February. So now we're in February. We were like, wow, yo, this is hot. This, I want to have this. I want to look like this, and so of course the next thing that come up, because we're already on this thing, is Hell Up in Harlem, which are more beats, more breaks. That soundtrack was done, I believe, by James Brown. If it wasn't that one, then it was Black Caesar that was done on. But I believe it was Hell Up in Harlem, and James Brown did the score for that. Or if it wasn't Hell Up in Harlem, it was Black Caesar. No, you know what? I have to be corrected. Black Caesar was James Brown. And so, listen, man, we hear those beats and we see it getting down. We see the clothes that they were wearing. Fred Williamson had on Playboys at the time. And, hey, that was something for us to see. Now, because now we're talking about fashion in it. Okay, we're talking about fashion. Now, this is something that a lot of people really just don't understand. And when I say understand, meaning that they think from the later times, the maybe the second or third time that they they went around. One of the things that people, like I said, one of the things that people don't realize is that when the original thing comes out, at the time of it, a lot of times, number one, people are not looking at it to be known, so they never saw anybody wear them before, so it's not considered cool. And I think that was the biggest thing with Bronx Dale, and I know for a fact because I'm one of them, we wanted that. We wanted to wear something to bring something out that nobody else had. That was the key. So when we got these styles, we were kind of trendsetters because we didn't want anybody to have that. So if you were wearing something, and we're not going to just go behind and wear that because you think it's cool. We're going to wear something just like this Playboy that wasn't necessarily cool. Okay. And now, so let's look at the now these are original Playboys. Okay, these are not the third or fourth generation of Playboys. This picture was taken in 1970. Okay, this picture of Playboys, and if you look at the sole, now this picture was actually a black and white picture that was actually redone for color. Okay, so now let's go and let's read what it says about the original Playboy. Okay, now the thing about this is it says the story of the original Playboy brand began in 1936 in England with the creation of a unique crepe sole construction. Okay, so that's what the bottom of the Playboy was. It was this crepe sole, and it was unique. And look at the people that wore it. This iconic design worn by royals. Okay, you know what royals are? Those are higher ups and legendary Hollywood actors. Okay, higher up, people that got money, jazz musicians. Okay, jazz musicians, because in the 70s, jazz musicians and these musicians, uh they were unique, and they were us, and they were the ones that were hip. And if you remember, look at it a little bit further, it says rockabillys and hip hoppers and a host of other good people around the world. So go back to the word hip hoppers, you see, because in jazz terms, that's what they were. You know, you had the beboppers and the hip hoppers and the those slangs and words were actually what was used back in the days. So going back to the actual 70s, remember that I told you and I showed you how the adults were dressing, and the players and the hipsters and everything, they were actually dressing as such. Okay, now remember, we were saying about how we as kids dress, because see, these people, that the older people, they were about that nightlife. And even back in the 70s, I don't know what the age was, but you couldn't go into certain places that served alcohol. So imagine a young kid going into these juke joints and these places that served alcohol. It just wasn't happening, and that's what the grown-ups wanted to do. They wanted to leave their kids at home so they could let their hair down as such, and do these things and talk and conversate and drink and have a good time without kids. So us at kids, we couldn't go into these places. We could not go into these joints, these bars, these clubs that they were doing. We couldn't do that. Okay. So now, okay, as kids, um, these a lot of these organizations, because I'm not going to call them gangs. I'm not going to call them gangs. These organizations were brought about for us. They were brought about for us, and we were gonna make our things. We were gonna do our dress the way we wanted to dress. We were going to actually be how we wanted to be. We were going to actually have the music that we wanted to have, and we were going to do it. Okay. So now, remember, I was telling you the difference between the West Coast and the East Coast. Now, people don't realize that Soul Train, I think the first airing of Soul Train was maybe 72. I have to look back up, and matter of fact, I can look that up while we're talking. But the actual Soul Train, uh it was here. Let's go. Okay, the first syndicated episode of Soul Train aired October 2nd, 1971, and featured a performance by Gladys Knight and the Pips singing Friendship Train. Other performers on that memorial episode included Eddie Kendricks and the Honeycomb and Bobby Hutton. Okay, so that was 1971. So a lot of people that say, oh, that they got it from Soul Train and this, that was in 71, where they were doing those type of things on the West Coast and in Detroit and in Chicago and stuff. Okay. So yes, when you see the Lockers, yes, when you see the Soul Train dancers, yes, they were doing styles that were basically old to us, you see. And they were styles that we didn't actually do anymore. Okay, those are styles that we might not have done anymore. Okay, let me see if this is it. Okay, so now let's go from Soul Train to this Shaft. Now, if you look at Shaft, right, you see his leather jacket, probably a turtleneck or a mock neck, and his leather pants. Okay. So imagine being a kid and going to watch Shaft and seeing this cool brother that has on this leather, black leather, top and bottom. Of course, as kids, we're like, hey, sure enough, That's what we want to do. And that's what we did. And so it's hard now for people to understand, the beginnings of what we call hip hop, because these are the things, some of the things that we looked up to. And this was the styles that we did. And remember, like I said, that we couldn't go into the clubs, so we couldn't do it. We really couldn't do it. Now, the music part of it, comes in where, okay, so we're listening to these James Browns, and we're listening to sweet backs, these records that have these drum breaks in it. And of course, as dancers, as kids, we wanted to do that. We wanted to emulate Picnic Markham. We wanted to do that. And so at that time when we were doing it, of course, the older people was like, wait a minute, we're not gonna buy a record just to hear a little piece of a drum in it. No, that's a waste of money. We're not gonna buy a record and only listen to that one part of the record. That's unheard of. And so us beat masters, us breakers, that's all we wanted to hear of the record. we wanted to hear just that part of the record. So this is where it gets so complicated for people, because they say when everything comes together is the start of hip hop. But how can you say that? So an early hip hop, there were really basically no MCs. There definitely weren't rhymes. So there were no MCs, but you had a DJ, and you had someone actually talking on the mic, and you actually had dancers dancing. So that's hip hop. The dress of it, the hip wear that you would wear, the language in which you were talking, that's hip hop. And so the people that, even the some of the pioneers, as you call them, they say, well, it didn't actually come together until the MC crews came, and the MC look at the people that were talking on the mic before crews came. Look at the DJs that were extending the breaks before the bigger name DJs came. Look at the people that were actually dancing, burning, before these crews came to say that it was all together. So one thing that people don't understand is what's the difference between breaking and burning. Okay, so let me break it down to you. Burning is actually breakdancing. Okay, it really is, because what burning is before the break, and sometimes during the break, is when we're feeling out who's going to be considered the best dancer, who's going to be considered the one that's going to come above everything. So when we used to say we burnt you, that means that we got on the dance floor where you was dancing at, and we did some moves or something that burnt you. And so you had to basically stop dancing, because everybody's now focused on you from burning. And so we burnt you. Now, as it went on and everything, and we started getting these floor moves, as you call it. So now we're burning, and then when the break comes on, the break, then we're going to the floor, coming back up, going back down or whatever on that part of the record. So that's where the break comes in at. That's what's called break, the break. And so we were breaking on that part. We were burning on that part as well, but we were breaking on that part because that's the time where all our moves together are not going to be nothing to the moves that we're going to do when this break comes on. Okay, so that's the break. Now, we were doing that early. We were doing that early. Like I said, you know, we had James Brown that played the record and you know, so funky. We were so ready for that part, the breakdown where the drums come in. That's what we were waiting for. So there's nobody that was really truly there could say that, oh, hip hop really came together at this time, because it was a gradual movement. It was gradual. And so funk music was before 71. R&B was before 71. You know, the jazz, those musics were before 71. The style, the dress that were before 70 and 71. You know, the hip language that was talked, that was before 71. So, you know, who's to say, okay, well, no, hip hop started when all the crews and everything came together? No, by that time, you're late. You're late. You're what they call a late bloomer, because hip hop was already rocking. Hip hop was already in existence. Hip hop was already at the stage of it being called hip hop. And so, you know, that's one of the things that really bothers me, because, you know, how can you say that how can you say that it wasn't happening? Okay, so now when I look at this picture, it cracks me up. My cousin sent me this picture, and he, you know, it's so funny every time I look at this picture. But that hat and that shirt, but that's Dr. J. That's Dr. J. That's sitting there in the car. That's Dr. J. Now, and when I see that picture, I crack up all the time with my face. The way I looked at that face, I guess it's so funny. But anyway, so one of the things that I was saying was that you know, they say that Herc is the one that put these things together. And now I'm even hearing no, that even Herc didn't do, it wasn't hip hop when Herc was doing it, that when the crews came in 77, that's when it became hip hop. And you know, those are just, it's just crazy. And so when I say these things, you know, that say that Herc wasn't the one that started it, or Herc wasn't doing, just like when they say about them, when I say about Puerto Ricans, immediately those gremlins or whatever you want to call them say that oh, you and Herc are enemies. You and Herc never you got along together, or you know, you and Herc are just, you know, every time you're talking bad about Herc or whatever, you know. And I say this, there's a lot of people say, you don't even know Herc. You don't know who Herc is or anything. You don't know, you know, whatever. And I so this is what I show. this is what I show. And like I said, I have a lot more pictures of earlier times or whatever. But you know, it bothers me in a sense to say, you know, that that's what they try to do. They try to make things up, and they do it. And honestly, those people that do that are the farthest from real hip hop that there is. They're the farthest of real hip hop that there is, because the number one thing about hip hop, the music, the culture, the dress, the fashion, the lingo, the lyricals, the poems, all of those things from us kids were fun. It was fun. It was all about fun. It wasn't about finance. When the people get involved with it, then it becomes a money thing. When other people get involved in it, it's about this one dance that made hip hop. You know, it's one dance, and it's not that. See, hip hop is based on our culture. It's based on what we have done, and the what our parents and our elders have done, that we caught onto and said, well, we're going to do it our way. And that's what hip hop is. It's about doing it our way. The younger people that did it. Now, this is one thing, and I'm going to say it on this video, and I'm not going to say it no more. Okay, I'm not going to say it no more. There were, from me, what I know, what I've seen, what I witnessed, there were seven of us that ranged from 8 to 12. 7 of us. And what we were doing, and the way we were dressing, and the way we were talking, and the way we loved to hear the break, and the way we wanted to come outside and play this, and play from the window, put the speaker out the window, and how the adults were, and everything. Those were the creators. Us, we were the creators of hip hop. Now, people say this. This is what people say. Oh, you don't know what was happening on this side. Oh, you don't know that what this was on this side. You're right. I don't know what's happening. But I do know this, that I have cousins in Queens. I have cousins in Brooklyn. I have cousins in Staten Island, Yonkers, New Rochelle, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Ohio, North Carolina, South Carolina, DC, Atlanta, Alabama, all of these different places. And you know, in the summertime as kids, you go to these places. And not even the summertime, and if you're in the city and you have cousins that live in Brooklyn, or you have cousins that live in Queens, or you have cousins that live in New Rochelle, or you have cousins that live in Mount Vernon, or you have cousins, any of those cousins at those ages, you go to their house. So at that time, in 1971 and 1970, me and my brothers, my sisters were bringing that to our other cousins and saying, wow. And my cousins in Ohio, till this day, they say, man, I can't believe that you brought that down here and we didn't know nothing about it. We didn't know nothing about it. We didn't know nothing about the styles. It didn't know nothing about the music that was playing. It didn't know about anything. So if these things were happening in other places, then that's the claim, and to say that that was happening, and like we say, there are things, the jams that we were playing, that Mario was playing in specific, that the people that they say that was doing it were not Pete DJ Jones, all right, Flowers, okay. They were known for playing in the clubs. They were known for playing these type of events where older people were involved. That's what they look them up, do the research. They were basically playing for the older people. The difference with Mario was he was playing for us, the younger generation. The jams were out in the park where you didn't have to pay to go listen to this music. Remember? So being a paid DJ, you're going to play for whoever is doing these things. So kids are not going to pay no DJ to play. It's unheard of. It's unheard of. So these DJs, these big DJs were playing. They were paid DJs. They were paid to play. So who was paying them to play? What audience was paying for them to play? And that's why these people, these legends, these pioneers get it all twisted about Mario. They get it all twisted. Okay? And so now for the other pioneers that say, well, Disco King Mario, it says it all in his name, that he was playing disco. It just shows exactly why they don't know the history of hip hop. They don't know the history of hip hop. Is because first thing, and I'm sure now people are going to start saying what I'm saying, but first thing is this: that when Mario first came out, those that know, he was not Disco King Mario. He wasn't even DJ Mario. He was just Mario. So no Disco King. There was no Disco King Mario in 70, 71. It wasn't no disco. It wasn't DJ Mario in 70 and 71. So when he was playing just as Mario, was he playing this disco music that you're talking about that has the Disco King Mario? And that's just the starters to prove that you know nothing about what you're talking about. It's just that's only a small part to show that these legends, these pioneers, don't know what the hell they're talking about, have never seen Mario play, period. They've never seen him play at all. It's all what they hear. It's all what they hear because they never saw Mario play. They just say, oh, Mario was playing this, and that's why the disco is in his name. That's number one. Number two thing that people just, these pioneers that say these things, these pioneers that know so much, don't even know what the disco stands for. They don't even know. You know, they're talking, they're saying all of this stuff, and they don't even know what disco stands for. So I'm going to say it on this. I'm going to say it one time and watch how it goes out now. Okay, so I'm going to say it again, matter of fact. Disco is not the music. It represents the discotheque. So the discotheque is the venue in which the music is played. So in 1975, there was a person, we all know Cool DJ D, and Cool DJ D played in these clubs, in these discotheques, and one of his partners took the name Disco King. That's what he did, because they were the king of the discotheques. That's what they were called. They were going to be the king of the discotheque. Now, you're in Bronxdale, right? Imagine being at a jam in Bronxdale and saying on the mic that you're the king of anything in Bronxdale. You're not from Bronxdale, but you're in Bronxdale, and you're saying that you're the king. Who Mario is and said, nope, 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 nope. You're not no king, especially you're not going to do that now. I'm the disco king. I'm the disco king, okay? I'm that, okay? This is my name. You can't use that name anymore. This is my name. Bogarted it, okay? Bogarted it, took it. And that was it. That was it. That's where the name came from. So all of those pioneers, all of those things, I want them to share this video and send it to them. And watch how they recant their statements. Watch how they say, oh, well, we knew that, but no. Watch how they have to bring it back and say, wait a minute, okay, well, if Phase is saying that or whatever, and that's what it was, then it has nothing to do with disco music. And watch what it says. Watch how those people come back and say that. When they come back and they say, oh, well, because, listen, it's already on video how these people said these things. It's on video where these people said these things. And now remember, we're talking about hip hop. We're talking about hip hop. I just showed the other day when disco came into existence. I showed that. And I showed that hip hop was before disco came to existence. And so that's the difference. That's the difference of what these pioneers and these legends are saying than what really happened. Okay, listen, I'm getting the nudge to go to my comments. Okay, so listen, like, share, and subscribe. Okay, so we have the usual suspects in the building. I want to say peace out to you, and I want to say love you guys so much. We all know about the donations and stuff, and I really appreciate the donations that come in, and I just want you to know why I ask for donations, because This information that I'm giving you it is something that can actually put it back into our hands, put this whole hip hop back into our hands. And so that's where it needs to be, back in our hands. So in order to continue to do that, yes, there's donations need to be given so that we can keep up this channel, so we can keep the information coming and make it, make this, take it back. Okay, so some of our my subscribers are repping our culture. Peace to Phase, peace to the chat, and peace to the representers. Here, Manny Savage, peace. C British Braveheart Hangs Too says peace to the chat and peace to the real hip hopper pioneer DJ Face. Peace to you, brother. FBA all day. JG says peace, family. King Troll, Mr. Outside, he's in the building. Kareem Smith, DJ Face, what up from Las Vegas? Peace, Kareem. I see you're in here. Okay. Happy Hip Hop 51 Hoax. That's Ash Tabakara. Okay, let's go down. Let's get some stuff going. Black Seed, the Child of Life, is in here. There's a lot of salutes, I guess I got to go down and get the grit of what's going on. A lot of people are just saying, what's up, China Black. Truth Savior. Hey, Truth Savior, I missed you at the event. He's in the building. And you guys, listen, I hope that I didn't skip over too much. But one of the things that I wanted to hit on was, the actual what hip hop is. And so hip hop, like I said, was a combination of those things, the movies, what we were seeing, the fact that we were kids and we could not go into these bars and these clubs that the older people went in. We didn't necessarily want to wear a suit and a tie and those type of things. We wanted to be able to get on the floor. We loved sneakers because we would run all over the place and do those things. So that was the creation of why hip hop came. Okay. Pop locking is a street dance that originated in California in the 1970s. Is a combination of two dance styles, popping and locking. Popping originated. Yeah, well, I made a point the other day, and people looked at me and said, damn, Phase, like, we never put that together. We never put that together. So one of the things, and I'm glad you brought that up, Ricky. I'm glad you brought that up. So let's go back with the lockers in the 70s. And you saw the things, the routines that they did, and which I was so glad to see that they were actually doing it to the music. But one thing that people don't remember or was the Harlem Globetrotters. Okay, the things that they were doing early, the moves that they were moving and they were doing and dancing and stuff and doing with the basketball, that's a big part of what the lockers ended up doing. They throwing things and making like they're throwing things and bringing it back and all of those, kicking up the legs and all of that. So that was a big thing that was actually going on. And the Harlem Globetrotters, I think, is from the 60s that they established, and they were doing these tricks and stuff. So that's a good point, but I just had to acknowledge the Harlem Globetrotters. Okay, Roger Pace. Latinos still going with the same narrative. They helped create hip hop, and it was a combination of different races that created hip hop. Well, Roger, See, that's where I have a problem. And when I say I have a problem, because when you say created, so, you know, creating things, you have to say you start with ingredients, or you start with whatever you're going to do, and you create it. Now, after that creation is done, then things are added to it. There are things that are added to it. So there were no other people, there were no other races, there were no other people other than us. And when I say us, let it be known that we're called a certain type of things now. We're called FBA, Foundational Black. Um, we're called freedmen, and we're called African American. We're called, but we're really not African Americans. So they don't use that anymore, and that we're called those things. So in the beginning of the creation, there was no other than us. That was it. There were no Puerto Ricans, there was no Jamaicans, there were Barbados, there was no other people other than the kids that were from parents were down south, or something, or even here or whatever. And so there were no other groups in the creation. Now remember, the key word is creation. And so that's, I think that's one of the reasons why the Puerto Ricans have so much anger towards us, just by saying that they were not there. So each time that we bring out that, well, what Puerto Rican culture was influenced by hip hop? What did you bring from Puerto Rico to the Bronx that was the creation, part of the creation of hip hop? Because that's what it would mean. That would mean that's 50-50, that someone brought something to the table equally, and that's where the problem comes in, when they can't produce that evidence, when they can't produce what they brought, or when they can't produce. That's why they're pushing the timeline to 77, 78, when they joined, when they were actually into it. Okay. Jamal Omar says, Hurt interview, he's saying he started the sneaker culture in hip hop. Well, there you go. And that's, it's crazy. Jamal, thank you for your comment. It's crazy when someone actually says something like that, when they had to actually adapt to what we were doing. He had to adapt to our styles. He says it himself that, that when he went to school, that the people would snap on him about his clothing, and because he was straight from Jamaica, and he didn't, so when he got from Jamaica, were we not wearing sneakers? Did we not have 69ers, all the Converse, the all the sneakers that we wore, and so that's just a way to grab attention to these things, that there's this $1 trillion industry. That's what it is. It's just, and it's hard for us, the creators, to look and see those type of comments. It's hard for us to see that, and we to see that people can actually claim that, and then other people can actually believe it. That's the hard part for me, is if you're going to believe something like that, how can you believe something like that? It's just, to me, it's ridiculous to even believe something like that. People, don't forget to like and share and donate and subscribe. Please don't forget, because we're trying to build this channel up so we can get a wider audience, number one, and we can spread our message. So if you're making a comment, please do some of the things. Please do some of the things. Right now, I can't even do a super chat, so you can donate that way because there's not enough subscribers. And so there's a certain amount of subscribers and a certain amount of likes that has to happen before I can get the super chat. So please share, subscribe, and like. Please. Okay, DJ Biggs, very informative, DJ Phase. We all need to learn about hip hop. We all love, but everyone lives in America, but not aware of Friedman creations. It is shocking because of the negative stereotype. Well, this is true. I saw a video the other day, and I wish I could have put it up, but I saw a video the other day of how a lot of our establishments, a lot of our creations or whatever, were actually sunken with these man-made lakes, and the people were destroyed and killed and everything. And these man-made lakes like Lake Lanier in Georgia, which has these thriving freedmen places, cities and stuff. And that's gone on for years. And just like hip hop, our creation, our culture, that will be taken away from us as well if we don't do these type of things. If we don't stand up and say, listen, you're not taking anything away from us. This generation at least should be the ones that say there's no way you're gonna come and sink us, or you ain't no way that you're gonna come and let some people say the crew started this and the crew this person started. There's just no way. And so we need channels like this, like mine, and other channels that can go ahead and do this. We can go ahead and claim what is ours. We can go ahead and make these people don't want to come and take our stuff from us. And that's the only way we're going to do it, is with channels like mine, channels to put it out in the way, put it in the forefront, and let it be known. Okay. Complicated says, so how do you feel about the breakdancing part in the Olympics? Complicated, I hope you're still on here. I hope you're still here in this live, Complicated. And I'll even throw that one up there. Okay, I'll throw that one up there, Complicated. So how do I feel about breakdancing being in the Olympics? Well, I did a show on it maybe a week ago, a couple weeks ago. And I feel that number one thing is it's not breakdancing. Okay, it's totally not breakdancing. And once again, we let and I say pink people at this time, we let pink people come take our stuff and say, this is what it is. You can't break dance if you're gonna put your arms this way, or you can't when you put your arms this way, don't know, you have to put your arms like this. They're giving instructions and rules on how we're supposed to dance, on how we're supposed to listen to the music, how we're supposed to call it what we call it. And so that's my point exactly. They take our culture and they put it in the Olympics, and not even the real one, the fake breakdancing, and then they say that, okay, if you're not doing it this way, you're not breakdancing. If you're not doing it, and so they have these rules to it, and I hate to say it, but look how many of people are buying that or are going along with it or agreeing with it or whatever because they think it's the hip thing to say. And meanwhile, there it goes. A perfect example. You look at the Olympics, you see who's doing it and whatever, and we're out. We're out of the game. So that's what I think. My new thing My new thing is EAD, EAD, EAD when it comes to the but to the hip hop, to the Olympics. Okay. Yes, the guy was talking about um, the Harlem Globetrotters. Okay. China Black, hey, the entourage effect. Why did you put entourage in your name if you're one person? I'll wait. Oh, I guess China's going against someone who I guess entourage or whatever. But that'll happen. That'll happen in our chats. So I hope once again I hope that this has been um, informative, educational wise, as far as hip hop is concerned. And listen, we can all come together and not let them steal hip hop away from us like they've stole so much from us. Aren't you guys tired of people stealing stuff from us? Aren't you guys tired of it? Um, those that asked me before, they asked me, was that a picture of me? And I'll tell you, yes, that's DJ Phase. And yes, those are 45 records in my hands. And yes, that's a close and play record player, portable record player that work by batteries that I could take with me and go all over and play my 45 records. Okay, that's me. So for those people that said that I was too young to have breaks, or I was too young to have records, or I was too young to know what the different musics were. There's a perfect piece of evidence to show. And look, you can see how young I was. I'm not 8 or 9 or any of those things. I was very, 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 very young. Okay, very, very, very young. And those records, I wish you could zoom in on, but those are James Brown records. And, those are, and the crazy part is that that stack in my hand that I had, I still have those records. Like I still have those records. I remember, putting when I got it, writing my name on the record, and all kinds of things from from those times. And so, it's funny to me when people say that. They say no, that you couldn't have been DJing, or you couldn't have been having these records at that time. You just couldn't have been doing that because you were too young. And so it just, it's like I said, it just kills me when people say that. And when you realize that, well, this $1 trillion business was created by kids, not teenagers, not adults, not anybody other than kids. And so we got it stolen from us from the teenagers, and the teenagers got it stolen from us from adults, and now everybody got it stolen from everybody else. Everybody else comes in and and, and does it. Wow. Okay, so that's it. I enjoyed my day today. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Please, I want to get ready to go and look at that Cash App, and I want to see all the people that were in this chat, all the people that were saying their things and commenting and all that. I want to go back to the Cash App and look and see exactly how much you support DJ Phase and how much you appreciate the information that I'm giving. Okay, so like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much once again for being a part of the DJ Phase experience.